You're welcome, President.
Should I go ahead, or do you think we should let some other people to join? Because I think we're just about 10 of us, or even less than 10, about 7 of us that are here now. Or should I just go ahead?
I think you should go ahead. You
Yeah.
can give us the opening remark if it is lengthy, and before I finish reading the citation, it will be
Ah,
almost
all
uh,
right.
10 minutes past 9. So I think it's good.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you
go
very
ahead.
Mr. Moderator. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of Korea and beyond. On behalf of Nigerian Students Association at Kyongpook National University, I am delighted to welcome you all to this very important and timely session uh, titled Psychological Health Balance for Foreigners in Korea. We understand that living and studying in a foreign country, far away from our home, our family, what we are used to, our familiar setting, comes with its own unique challenge. It could be about homesickness, academic pressure, social isolation, or simply navigating mental health support in a new environment. So this issue may affect many of us, and it's a good opportunity that we have in this kind of session today. So we are honored to have with us Dr. Yasir Karim, a distinguished medical doctor from the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Abeokuta, popularly known as ARO, will be guiding us through the key strategies and insights to help us maintain our mental health, well-being, and academic balance. So I also want to use this moment to thank the Knowledge Sharing Committee for bringing this very important topic, which is understated because many of us don't really know the effect of mental health on us, and we work tirelessly every week, day in, day out, but we don't know the effect of what our mental health is, how it affects our productivity, and so on. So I want to thank the organizer and the volunteers that are working behind the scenes to make this happen. And to our attendees, I also want to urge you to take this time to prioritize your mental health and listen carefully to what our lecturer have for us today. So I hope that this session will not only provide knowledge, but also spark more open conversation around mental health in our community. So thank you, everyone, and I wish you all an engaging and enriching session. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, President, for the opening remark. So without taking too much of our time, I will read the citation of our distinguished lecturer. But before I do that, like President had begun to say, please let's listen very well and pay attention. If possible, please listen with this. I mean, if your friend is not here, please just go ahead and call them because this topic is very, very important. It is subtle. Sometimes we don't pay attention to it. We don't know what is happening. But if your brain is not working very well, I mean, as a researcher, as a student, what else? So please let's pay close attention. Let's try to reach out to our friends and ask them to join the call. So without taking much of our time, because we want to stick with the time, I know this is daylight time in Nigeria and today is Saturday, so our lecturer ought to be with his family. So thank him for taking out time. So it's the citation of Dr. Karim Yeshur Adeyemi. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that well. Karim attended the Federal Government Academy Center for Gifted and Talented in Suleja, North Central Nigeria, under the National Scholarship. He had his medical education at Lautech, that's Ladoke Akintola Teaching Hospital. Technology, University of Technology, Ogbomoso, Southwestern Nigeria. He had his outmanship at Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, Northwest Nigeria. He had his National Youth Service at Zamfara State, where he served as the chief medical doctor, medical residency trainee at Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Maiduguri, Northeast Nigeria, where he was the academic coordinator. He is now a consultant psychiatrist at Neuropsychiatric Hospital, ARO, under WHO Collaboration Center for Research and Training in Mental Health, and is a faculty at the Institute of Behavioral Science at the same ARO, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. In fact, our lecturer is a thoroughbred Nigerian. He has traveled almost all the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Under the tutelage of his erudite teachers and mentor, Dr. Karim has honed his skill as an ambitious, multitasking, and thoroughbred specialist. He's an early career researcher and member of several local and international research interest groups, with collaboration in psychiatry, forensic, consultation liaison, public health, public mental health, and academic psychiatry. Thus, he has over 60 journal club presentation, has attended several academic seminars and training workshops, and, and presented papers at 20 scientific conferences, with several publication and 40 research items to his credit. He has served in various leadership and administrative roles as well, such as editor-in-chief of the Lautech Medical Student Association. He established the PEN Medical Journal. He was president of the Association of Resident Doctor, during which he founded the Resident Doctor Library. He is currently the chairman of the Clinical Government Committee of Nigeria Medical Association of State. He is the general secretary of Early Career Psychiatry section of the Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria, and public relation officer of Medical and Dental Consultants Association in Nigeria. He is also a recipient of several honors, including a fellowship award from the Japanese Society of Psychiatry and Neurology, and a fellowship qualification from West African College of Physicians. He is currently under a scholarship beneficiary of the Field Epidemiology and Laboratory Training Program, pillar of the Africa CDC Mental Health Leadership Program, where he represents Nigeria at Ghana for an African Field Epidemiology Network Competence Certificate, and an MPhil degree holder in Applied Epidemiology and Disease Control of the School of Public Health, University of Ghana. He is the MD CEO of Mindrest Service Hub. It's the platform, the Service Hub platform is an hybrid platform for mental health, psychotherapy, academic writing, research collaboration, public presentation, and speaking. He is husband to his wife, and is happily married. He has so many children. I think we are going to adopt me as one of your children this night. So it is really an honor to have our erudite scholar, our doctor in the house. He is a leader, a mentor, and a speaker. So let's listen very well as we go through the lecture. So it is my honor to welcome you. Please let's give him our emoji clapping ovation as we welcome the speaker. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, a good afternoon, everybody. It's afternoon here in Ghana.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Um, I want to start by appreciating the NSA for inviting me. And by this, since we have been speaking, he has been on my neck, even though it was quite um, challenging to be available, particularly at this point in time and all that. But I just don't like to disappoint people. So I just said I'll just try and alhamdulillah. Even though I have an engagement now, but I'll be as smart as possible. And I hope that the little I'm going to be able to share will be of benefit, at least to some extent, to us as foreigners. And basically treading the path of having to leave one's fatherland or greener pasture comes with its own attendant consequences, which could be seen in different realms of participation. And of course, many people's family life, spiritual, academic, and psychosocial life have been adversely affected by just that act of migration. And in Nigeria today, we tend to receive different forms of patients. Of course, because the access to mental health services abroad is not as easily available or as readily available as when we have it when we have in Nigeria. So many people are about to come back for mental health services, and then sometimes even some parents are about to sometimes bring their children back home. So the this particular topic really has a lot of relevance in this day and time. And so I must say that I commend the organizers for thinking through this time. Now it is a big area, so it's unlikely that I'll be able to exhaust um everything as regards mental health status associated with migration, but I will try my best to see how much I can cover within the stipulated time, because I know as academic we all have different skills at time, and we don't want to expand all the time that we have on just a particular webinar session. So I'll try to do as much. I've been giving um, some highlights to discuss, so and I will try as much as possible to keep within that highlight as given. However, it will be important to set some stages for what will make understanding of the highlights important. So that will be the reason why I will say one or two things that may be outside and what I have been given. So the aim of all this is just to create a balance or a template for the discussion. So and also I will also um touch some areas that have to do with my own personal experiences as a practitioner, what I have seen happen to people who have traveled, and how relocation has had one or two effects on some of our colleagues who have had to travel. And then I will make one or two conclusions. So, but to start with, it's important to note that there are different factors that determine what the effects of being a foreigner will be on a foreign land. And this will depend on different personalities. So whatever I will be saying, they are not generalizable. So for some people, it may be, while for some, it may not be. I'm trying to join with my system so that I can project. I don't know if the admin has seen that request. Hello, Peter, am I audible, please?
Yes, admin, please, let's attend to that.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to see the slides. I haven't seen the slides. Did you send the
No, I'm
slides?
trying to join with my PC so that I can be
Okay.
able to share
Okay,
my
let me
slide from here.
okay, let me see. Uh
Okay, let me try it
go
again. I
ahead,
think
sir.
it's probably
Go
network.
ahead.
Yeah, let me
If you
try it
can't
again.
get
But I
through,
would not
can
want to use that to delay us. So, but that
okay.
said, whatever I'll be mentioning, we just it is going to, it's not a generalized thing. It will depend on the our individual differences. So there is no exact consequence of foreigner. And then all what I've mentioned it too, they are not what must happen. So some of them may be mitigated. But let me start by saying that the consequences of traveling actually start right from the time that one makes the intention. So most of what I'll be talking about will be even pre-relocation. Before one even relocates, there are already some effects that one will start seeing. Of course, what we see commonly or what we focus on mostly is finance. We want to boost our accounts, we want to ensure we have the visa, and we want to do this and do that. We do not really look into how we survival in that place actually be. And for some people, they will have even already migrated before they start taking some steps which they should have actually taken even while they were making the plan to migrate. So the consequences of migration would be better put as those that occur before the migration, those that we see during the migration, and then those that will be after the migration. Of course, after the migration, then the academic challenges and all that, they may appear to dominate at that time. But that does not still rule out the other non-academic consequences. So, but at different points in time, we usually um, focus only on one, which is one of the challenges that I think we've had over time. Sometimes we usually focus when we want to travel, we usually focus basically on just getting to the place. People do not do real searches, they do not make good preparations, and then one has already set the stage for some of the pre-relocation challenges. So for those who have, and many of us have already migrated, but indeed some of the effects that we tend to face, they are actually things that have actually occurred even right before our migration. Why some of us who are just migrating will likely be seeing the effects immediately surrounding our migration. Why those who have spent time, they will face more of the effects of the post migration experiences. So, like I mentioned earlier, all this will depend on different variables, different individuals, and so the what we do in mental health is to try to individualize um, people's needs when we are being consulted. But of course, today I may be happy since I'm talking to a group of people, I may appear to generalize some things, but it's important to know that everything about this concept are actually individualized. It depends on different people. Different people will experience, different people will have different experiences. And so the solutions too will will also vary from one person to another person. It depends on what experience that person must have had. So and then another thing that I would highlight, particularly as regard what the um, mental health challenges that people may have, is that there is what we call factors in mental illness. Mental illnesses are syndromic in the sense that it is not like malaria, that if somebody has fever, the person is having headache, then the person may be having malaria. It goes far, far and beyond that area. It is a complexity of different signs and symptoms, which we technically call psychopathology. It's a group of all these things that constitute mental illness, and there is really no mental illness particularly that people that migrate would have. However, at the same time, there is no form of mental illness that somebody that has migrated cannot have. It's all a factor of different circumstances that surround that individual's migration. So I've not really um, studied much about migration around Korea because, like I mentioned, it is essentially context specific. Where you are, the consequences that one is likely going to face will be largely a factor also of that particular environment. So the challenges that people that migrate to UK and US will face will differ from challenges that people that migrate to the Middle East or the Eastern Asia or other parts will face. Most of the documented studies, which I would have loved to reference, are more focusing on United Kingdom and Canada, as we know. However, I tried to search around our area, and then I was able to see a study that was actually done among the Chinese. Perhaps maybe if my search has been wider, maybe I would have seen something specifically among people from Korea. But of course, some of these things are actually applicable to each other and indeed one another. So we may actually use one to represent another. Wow. Okay, so I think it's important to understand this particular factor that I've just mentioned. And then lastly, I'll just be highlighting some of the coping um, mechanisms or let me say coping strategies by which we may be able to address some of these challenges. And since we are talking to an association, I will probably be also be making one or two recommendations for us and association too, which is one of what we are doing currently. I believe for members who are participating at this meeting and other meetings that you are having, I believe that it will be of an immense benefit to them. And I will encourage us to have more and more of this. So please, can you see my request again now? I think next.
Doctor, I haven't seen it yet, sir. Maybe you can share it. Maybe you can send it here so I can share. I don't know. I have not seen any requests. To click on share screen, it should pop up automatically, sir. We can see now. It's showing.
Okay, I see my screen is visible now. Okay, okay. Okay, so I'll try to go off camera so that it will not affect my bandwidth. I wanted to just show myself for more context, but hello, please, am I still audible?
People, yes.
Hello,
We can
Yes,
hear
sir.
you talking.
We are with you.
is my slide moving?
Oh, no.
No, no, no.
Okay. So I can share the slide, but unfortunately I'm unable to. It had moved earlier. Okay, let me just see this. Okay, no problem. I think I'll just continue, or maybe I will share the slide with you to help me share from your side. If I'm not able to successfully do it second time. So I've talked about. There's an echo. Okay, so I've talked about the fact that all these psychological consequences of migration and other events are actually depending on different factors. One of which is the location. So the other factor that I want to really mention is the background mental status of the person that is actually migrating. So I want to disclose that what I'm saying, I think I can just off this one. Okay. Please, am I still echoing, please?
You're not echoing.
Hello, please, am I still echoing?
No, you are not echoing. You are good, sir.
Okay, so I think so relocation is both a qualitative and a quantitative stressor to somebody's mental health, and it's quite a complex phenomenon. And as we are technically migrants. And the migration has its own consequences on us all, which is the main context of this presentation. So I mentioned earlier that the factors that affect relocation, there are many. So one of them includes to study, like many of us, other people to seek employment, marital purposes, for to avoid political persecution and others. I will not waste time on these factors. So these are some of the stages of relocation and some psychological consequences at each stage. That is from migration experiences, country of origin, then making decision to migrate, then what you expect at migration. Migration break in the substance within the country of origin. So starting from some vulnerabilities, financial, social, biological, which will further influence the decision to relocate or not to relocate. And then when one is relocating, other factors will now come in, like other life events. Some people will relocate and lose their relationships, some will have to lose their assets, some may lose some support. And by the time one is trying to migrate, the issue of acculturation, that is trying to cope with people's culture too. So it is likely that the longer the distance, the more the reality change will occur. So usually this is our technical expectation. People that are migrating will think that I'm traveling out, I'll be getting the best of education, the best of lifestyle, the best of leadership and all that. But this is the reality on that. There's really no perfect environment, no perfect world. So there are some things that will be better, both academically and otherwise. Some, there will be no much difference between what we had in Nigeria and abroad. Why for some, there will be some things that are worse. So it is this that are worse that will become disturbed about. So, and after relocating, then we face the real challenges. Some of the challenges faced by foreigners include racial discrimination, cultural identity, expecting of achievements, then the stress with adaptation, and of course discrimination and economic and financial difficulties and ruthlessness. So what are the factors that determine the influence of migration? So one of the factors is the age and the gender. So the younger, that's children, and the older adults, it may not be easy for them to migrate. It may not be easy for them to cope with migration. And then, as we all know too, it's not as easy for females compared to males. Then the previous mental well-being too, and medical well-being. The person that somebody that has a background medical or mental illness, migration may not be easy for that person. And then even the length of stay where one is going, and other economic factors, employment, housing, family. So if somebody is already having a well-paid employment in Nigeria and the person travels abroad, it may not be as easy. We have heard of bank managers who have left, sold their properties, and became depressed or even mentally ill. But when you see people who don't have anything already, if they are going, they will face lesser of those economic in quotes, because they already have anything already in Nigeria. So when they travel abroad, no matter how bad it is, not be as bad as what they had at home. Although this will also be the other way around. Then the type of adaptive mechanism that person uses too will also influence how that relocation will affect the person's mental. And of course, social support. Like we are on this page now, the NSA is a form of social support for those who realize that purpose. So some of the you can talk about age. Another thing is the language. Of course, in places where they are speaking your language. If I'm migrating to UK, US now, the language barrier is, of course, our English may differ a bit, but at least we will still communicate. If I'm migrating to a place where English is not their language, that one itself too is a challenge. As you have seen in my CV, as a Nigerian, I go to school in all the regions of the country. The southwest, where I was born, the north central, the northeast. And one major challenge that I think I faced was language barrier. And now, as a doctor practicing, I had to have people to translate for me, and it wasn't very easy. So if you talk about one reason for me for relocating back to the southwest, language was top among them. So of course, the operation one is going to do as well too. So if you are moving from a successful career and going to start afresh, there will be challenges. Which one should be ready for? And among other things too as well. So of course, for people that are moving at the large extreme, people that are very highly educated, professors and all that, now going to take unskilled job, there will be difficulty. People that are not educated at all too, now going abroad, of course, they also have some satisfactory challenges as they move. Then the family and the household as well. People that are coming alone, waiting for family to join them, they may experience some distress, unlike people that are moving as a family. But we all know that moving as a family too is also challenging. So it's neither here nor there. But it has been noted by studies that people that relocate from socio-centric societies to alternative cultures, they find it difficult to adjust because the society they are going to may experience to be in a particular way. Where they are coming from is not their own upbringing. Of the 4 family types that we have, living alone, nuclear, extended, and divorced, people are divorced or single women. They usually have difficulty in adjusting than people who are maybe single, than people maybe who are married and with their families. Or you are going to the part of the world where you already have your family members there. It's easier to adjust. So what are the sources of psychological problems in foreigners? One of the sources is different realities. What you were expecting is not what you eventually get. Like commonly said, what I ordered, that's what I got. Please, sorry, please, am I echoing, please?
No, the sound is okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. So then the isolated lifestyle. Some people will migrate. They are migrating alone. They will move alone. They will be, everything they are doing is in isolation. Of course, we all know that there are challenges with telling people what you want to do, but isolating information too much itself is a distress. Then the stress of the work or the school. And if you are going as a parent, parenting abroad is a bit of more difficult problem than parenting at home. Then having a family abroad too is also challenging. There's a way you can handle your children. There are different rules. Then financial challenges. Then some emotional blackmailing. Immediately you travel abroad like this, people that don't know start calling you, asking you for money, thinking as if you are going to making money there, and people don't even understand what you are going through. Then, like I mentioned earlier, the cultural adaptation. So, what are some of the mental disorders with relocation? I'll just skip here because of time. So let me just mention one of them is the culture shock syndrome. Why moving to another place with a new culture, there may be sense of loss, deprivation, even rejection by some people in that new culture. And sometimes there may be some role confusion. Am I really schooling, or I'm learning, or I'm trying to cope? This may lead to some form of anxiety, disgust, feelings of impotence, or even unimportance. This study was done in China, and it was done among sub-Saharan Africans who have gone to China. And then it was 2020 study, and they tried to assess their quality of life after migration. And some of the factors that determine their quality of life include attitude to the culture, satisfaction with the living conditions. Then those that may give them negative quality of life, including becoming sick and even having mental illness like depression. So, and then this particular study, it underscores the need to understand that there are different factors that affect the quality of life among people who are migrating. So the environmental factors that they experience after migration, they are very key factors which build on previous evidence on migration. So, like I mentioned earlier, depression is a major problem when people migrate because you are losing your loved ones to migration, support is going, relationship, access, and a lot of other things. And a factor with coping with the culture too may also support the depression. So this study was done among Nigerians in Canada and trying to assess depression among them. You will see here that 54% of them were not satisfied with their employment. A majority of them had some form of support network, while over half were positive for depression. What are the factors that were common? Being females, being single, lacking satisfaction, and then spending more than 10 years in Canada were independent factors that predicted depression among people who have traveled. So then there is this syndrome that we call the foreign student state syndrome. Of course, there are no conclusive findings about this syndrome, but however, it has been linked to stress from difficulty in coping with the culture and other challenges in migration. This syndrome was described by Hopkins in 1975, and it comprised of different things like withdrawal, passivity, and others. 28% of Iranian and Nigerian students actually had psychological problems compared to British students in this particular study. So then PTSD, this means post-traumatic stress disorder, which is linked with cultural bereavement, exposure to torture, pre-migration, intra and post-migration, and of course illegal migration as well, and religious persecution. Political persecution also makes somebody to think back and regret migrating. So then psychosis. We've seen many patients who have traveled and then become drug addicts, became psychotic, became schizophrenic, and other things because of factors like the concept of self, issue with migration, issue with aspiration versus the real achievement, among others. So what are some of the coping strategies? One, before migrating, it's important to seek adequate information of the culture and then build resilience. That's being able to cope with stress. And then if necessary, doing some health checks and stuff. Is it time?
Huh?
Is it time?
No.
Okay, please give me 20 minutes. I will soon be done. I have a meeting. So coping strategies while you are relocating. Importantly, a lot of people travel and they burn bridges. So people travel and then they use a lot of different maneuvers, desperate, because they want to live by all means. You don't want to miss that next semester. You want to miss that session. All these things actually worsen anxiety and can even heighten stress while relocating. Then, of course, where we are going, post-relocation, it's better to manage cultural bereavement. You are going to be going to a new culture. I mean, worship centers, you might not get to worship as you have wanted, you might not see your own denomination, you might not see your ethnic people as available, and then managing your expectation, especially the aspiration versus achievement mismatch. So these are some of the things to do when you are coping. And when you are migrating or post-migration, one has to learn how to cope with their culture, how to cope with their identity, how to cope with the fact that what I am expecting may not exactly match what I'm currently achieving. So as the Nigerian Student Association, one of our roles is to build awareness among our population of students and be doing regular training like this so that people can learn about some of these things. And as well, we should ensure that as people are migrating, we discuss some of the challenges with them and how they can navigate this successfully. So then we are also policy makers. We can also recommend to the university there where we are, what we think should be done for our own foreigners. I believe that there will be an official body that is answerable to foreigners in a particular country. We should be able to lobby around them, try to ensure they mobilize resources for people who are coming. They do training, cultural competency for people who are new, and then they do not deprive our colleagues of their rights, right to the right health. There should be no discrimination in terms of indigenization. These are something that we can actually advocate for as association. And then the admission criteria should not be skewed against the foreigners. They are already coming with challenges. So all those things that should be done should be regular. And then we can also assess them as assist them in assessing healthcare. So these are some of the case studies I may have experienced. I've seen people who have traveled and then that was the end to their professionalism. So when people have traveled and their marriages have been broken down, I've seen patients along all these lines. And many people have traveled and then that particular traveling led to delay in their training, why some even had industrial burnouts for traveling. So concluding, what are the ways that we can use to cope and our academic workload and others? First thing is that we must ensure emotional stability. At every point in time, we should remain calm and composed. Whatever you are going through at that stage, people have gone through it, but without being calm and composed, one will lose the composure. Then one should train to be resilient, able to bounce back from any adversity you face. Then to be self-aware of yourself, you know your words, you know your thoughts, manage your behaviors, and then to have a positive sense of identity. We should have positive confidence in ourselves. Many people are so negativistic that they will focus on their negatives and they do not appraise their own positive gains. So we should know that some of the unique factors, if I will summarize, that affect us as foreigners is one, the cultural differences, the language barriers, and then the social isolation. So we should be able to manage all this in our academic lifestyle. In some countries, you have to learn their language before you can start education. So we should put that into consideration. In some, you have to learn some of their cultures to understand them. The tonation, even when we speak English, some of our tonations are difficult to follow. The Australian English, Canadian English, British English, American English. Even in Africa, yeah, what we speak, our English in Nigeria, English in Ghanaians, English in Sierra Leoneans, in Liberians, and in Kenya, they are all different, and even Ugandans. Now talking of traveling. So one needs to understand this and also so you can incorporate it in your academic work progress as well. Then, importantly as well, one should be able to understand issue of social isolation as much as possible. Try to communicate with people and ensure that you are not totally isolated in any ramification. Then, because one may be homesick, I may begin to be homesick and have identity concerns. So it's important to share some of these experiences with people, and they will guide you through how you can cope with feeling homeless and feeling sad in an homeless land. And of course, the psychological impact too of migration. It's important that one seeks guidance on this. So I think my time is up, and I think I'll be rounding up. So then for academic, you have to build academic support, which will involve having emotional support from people within your class, joining class discussion, tutorials, and association groups like this, and then reducing isolation as much as possible and engaging in self benefit. And lastly, seeking professional and community support. It's important to seek counseling services within our universities. For some of this, we should be proud to approach our health centers and meet the doctors there. And then our cultural organization like this NSA too, we should also have a counseling unit where we are guiding people. Now, I get amazed when people who are educated, you will be feeling depressed. For example, you will now call a coach, maybe a life coach, or maybe a motivational speaker. It's like somebody wants to build a house, is now calling a bricklayer when he has an engineer that should head the project. So many people usually seek the wrong support whenever it is needed. So we should be able to access adequate support, official, recognized, and documented support. And then participating in local activities of our community is important. Building social connection, cultural understanding, and feeling the sense of belong. In any society you find yourself, please, you have to belong to them. Whenever I go to any new community, country or so, one of the places I look for is their mosque. Try to tell myself I'm my name, I'm from Nigeria. I will discuss about it, and then I build that friendship with that Muslim and with that community. And in the academic, my faculty, I build close relationship with them, and then with that, when you fall into trouble, you can always come to your aid and give you a guide. And within that community for myself, I would like to look for a mentor who is from that same community, who speak the language, the culture, and from that person, I'll be learning some of their food and all these things will actually help you when you even go out to cope. And then assessing mental health services. I mentioned that our support should be professional. Are going to assess many people, like I mentioned, they assess people who are not certified. So because of that, they even worsen, they will give a lot of scare, they will give a lot of problems and co. Somebody is in abroad, is still ordering for herbs from Nigeria, herb that you cannot get it there. When somebody can actually prescribe medication for you and you get medication there. So we have to be professional in our seeking for help. And then it should be professional, it should be specialized services that we should seek for and not the other way around. And in the world today, we now have online platforms, digital platforms that do all this. So we can also take advantage of some of these um, online professionals that they will interact with you maybe through Zoom and all that, and then you can get the best of care from them. I particularly have one which I call the Mind Rest, where I offer different forms of psychological services, therapeutic, and almost what I have mentioned above. So, and lastly, we should also develop self-help tools and mindfulness among ourselves, which involve being prayerful, meditation, and looking for other self-help resources that can help us as Africans abroad. So I want to conclude that migration is a huge personal and collective decision and a significant life event. It has crucial mental health implications, which may relate to the pre-migration, intra, and post. So a sense of awareness that is subjective about its implications and proactive mobilization of resources is key to navigating the challenges of migrating safely. So within the broader context of the SDGs, there are important rules that policymakers, like we in this meeting today, can actually play in safeguarding the health of ourselves across the globe. So thank you very much for your time.
Oh, that's a very wonderful presentation by our distinguished lecturer. And I can see a lot of people are pouring in their clapping and their ovation. Thank you so much for taking this time out and for this amazing lecture that you prepared. Thank you so much. Without taking much of our time, let me know those who want to have who want to ask a question. You can signify by putting up your hand. If you have question. As we are preparing our question, I totally, I'm very sure that all of us can relate with what our lecturer is saying this evening. I have a friend who recently relocated to the UK. One day, one day, she just started crying. She did not even know why, what triggered it. She just started crying. And we understand that it is cultural shift and environmental just that it was so overwhelming to her. And that is why this discussion is very important. And the coping mechanism our lecturer presented. So once again, thank you so much for this presentation. Um, can I see people who want to ask question? Any question or contribution from anybody? Okay, I can see one hand. Okay, yes. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. My great doctor, thank you very much for the presentation. When you were talking, I mapped some of the ideas with my previous work on psychiatric outreach expert system. And when I did that, I noticed that there are so many symptoms of psychiatry. And it's not just something somebody can just detect on his own that this person is having a psychiatric disease. In this particular realm, there are different levels: level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3. In fact, I got to know that if one is driving on the road or you're walking on the road and you just found somebody saying, that kind of scenario, in that kind of scenario, that person that is harassing you tends to have that psychiatric disease, although it's of level 0. So based on this, I just want to say that your topic and your contribution is really, really relevant and is in time. And I hope that we'll continue with this program. But to my question, I just want to ask that what are the solution? What are the recommendations to cope with cultural barrier and language issues in a particular setting? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, audible, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments and your likes. My background is a bit noisy, so you stay with me. So, but then I think it's a very good question. Cultural sensitivity, like I mentioned, that acculturation is one big problem, and even within our country as Nigeria, I think one advantage Nigerians have, what I've seen whenever I've traveled abroad, is that we are already in a country that's like a continent. The main problem that people have in Nigeria too is that we will not take advantage that our country is is cosmopolitan. We have 6 zones which look like a country each on its own. So if people wanna use opportunity of being in Nigeria, maybe I did my internship in Kano, I served in Enugu, I schooled in Ogbomoso. By the time I'm traveling, just the same problem I face coping with the culture in those places. If I was able to navigate it, then it becomes easy when abroad. But while we are in Nigeria, people usually shy away from taking chance at exploring the environment. When I was doing my house, I was first in my much of my internship. Then I got a call from Katsina. I just left. I went there and I resigned from Ogbomoso. And when I was in Katsina, I got another call from Lutz. I said no, let me experience this Katsina, and it was really helpful for me in navigating the northwest. So I think one of the first things is to be part of that culture. First of all, trying to learn their language, their basic greetings, good morning, good afternoon. Even though I'm in Ghana at present, I still try to learn their way of speaking English. Some of their Ghanaian, at least people are like okay when you speak like them. So one of it is language. The more you learn of people's languages, the more that barrier is gone. If you are in a public transport and they are speaking different things, I cannot pick anything, it becomes more difficult. The secondly is their rules and regulations. Different areas have what they do and what they don't do. So one has to understand that there is this typicality in Nigeria that will go to another person's country. We don't want to be telling the person how they will do their things. I mean, it's amazing. So one has to understand as students now, you must understand what is their scoring guide in our country. In Nigeria, we used to have 70 as distinction, and we used to have, I think, depending on the school, anyway, we used to have B, C, and D. But in some other countries, they don't have it like that. So we have to understand in that culture, what does success mean in that culture academically? Then thirdly as well, the understanding the environment. Of course, it's risky to be going alone, like I mentioned. But if you get to a place, meet people who are let them take you around the campus, around basic facilities in that place. So you see how their culture is and you understand it. The thing is, if you cannot integrate with somebody's culture, don't go to that country. And if you are in that country, you have to because one cannot be fighting on people's culture for years of a particular state in a particular place. So which I think is many people challenge is actually in being able to adapt to other people's culture. So then lastly is their way of life, the kind of food that they eat. You have to try to cope with it because you cannot continue. Many, like I mentioned in my slide, actually it said on it, some people main problem in a particular country is that nutrition. The person is used to eating pure Nigerian food. Even the foreign food that we eat, the rice, like let me put it foreign, and even the snacks, they are different in other people's country. So we need to learn, we need to learn how to be able to eat their own. What my usually do is that if I need to consider some of my colleagues that are there, maybe who are already Nigerians, they do have learned their way of eating. I'll try to see them cook that local meal or take me to a local store where it is sold. Such a way that so that if I want to buy food, I'll not be looking for rice every time. I can also try to see areas where they make their own local food in a way that is appealing to what we have known about. So this is another cultural barrier to do. And then totally their way of course, it is not about you living your own culture, but at least being able to blend what you are used to in your country and other set of language, the dressing and others. Now the caveat here is that some things that they will be doing will go against your own religious belief, your own individual belief and all that. Of course, one cannot force what is not of my belief on me. But even though I'm doing all my belief, I will not step on your own belief too as well. So these are some of the ways. One has to just understand that the reality that see I'm in a foreign place and I have to make sure that I live as much as possible in a way that will not give me problem. Then lastly, building friends among the culture as well. Trying to make sure when I get to a particular place, my reading mates are usually from that place. I share questions with them, I share interactions with them. And if I'm told to pick a room, I usually prefer picking foreigner as my roommate than picking Nigerian. That's me. And because from that person in my room, I want to learn about the culture, the religion, the this thing, and then it helps a lot towards building my own mental health as a human being. So thank you very much.
Moderator, are you there? Thank
Oh,
you very much,
so
Doctor.
yes, go ahead, sir.
To draw your attention that you had finished.
Oh,
So if you have other questions, so thank you very much.
thank you. Please, is there any other question? I see our Dr. Kola here. President, anyone want to make contribution? Engineer Anis? Okay. So if there's no other question, I think I can bring the president up for the closing remark. The president.
Yeah, thank you very much, the moderator. I want to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to our honorable speaker, Dr. Karim. I think he has touched on so many important aspects of the given topics and many realities that each and every one of us has to live with. Specifically, we have to first accept and understand that we are in a foreign country. And I think this is one of the things that many people are still battling with and trying to see a way where a foreign country will bend to their own will and their own desire. So until we try to understand that we are in a foreign place, especially in the Asian community where they are very prideful of their own things, they are very conservative and they like to maintain their culture. So we have to understand that it will be very difficult for them to bend towards us, and it will be the best for us to be the one to bend and try to live within the community. So I think the speaker has done justice by also trying to back it up with various academic research, which made the whole lecture very interesting and uh, understandable for us. So I really want to appreciate Dr. Yosef for the effort. And I also want to use this opportunity to again thank the organizer for bringing this very important topic to us. So I believe that each and every one of us has picked one or two things that could guide us in helping us balance our academic work with our mental health. I also want to use this opportunity to urge us all to not forget what this association is for. The main reason why we have this association is not just about bringing us here to come and study and so. The major reason why the association exists, or at least why it was established, is for support, mainly for support, not just to bring us here and leave us here. We are here to always help you, guide you. So I want to tell and remind all of us that anytime we have anything bothering us that could later develop to what we won't be able to control, it is better we speak up. There is always someone closer to us than the other person. So once we have any problem, any type of problem, I believe that there are people that are capable in handling different type of problem. There we have the elder ones here, we have the religious ones. So if it is religious, even financial, we have so many packages in the association that we could help ourselves. So mental health is really, really very important. And we know that without a good mental state, there is no way we'll be able to deliver whatever we want to try. Well, I want to submit this paper today. If your mental health is not in the best condition, there's no way you'll be able to deliver. So I'm using this opportunity again to call to us that the association is always welcoming to any kind of help, any kind of support. So we have our doctors here. We have Dr. Anis, we have Dr. Equal, and so on, the vice president, and so on, that we could always run to, and myself directly. So I appreciate the efforts of the knowledge sharing committee for bringing together this topic, and also say once again a big thank you to Dr. Yosef for heeding to our call. We hope that this little knowledge that you've shared will sow and bring about a fruit that will germinate into bigger things that will help people and can help people better and maintain their mental health. So I thank you once again. And I thank everyone that has joined from different parts of Korea as well as different parts of the world. We hope that you've been able to learn one or two things. And I also want to remind us that this session is also recorded on our platforms. So in case you joined late or you have anyone that could still benefit from this lecture, you can as well go to our YouTube platform on NSAKNU to find the recorded version of this section. So thank you very much to everyone that is here. And I say a very uh, big good night to everyone. Thank you for staying with us. So, moderator, you have the floor.
Very much, President. And thank you all for staying around till now. Please, before you go, we need to take group photo.
A group photo?
Yes, our technical committee, please, have you done that? And then as they are doing that for us, they will just
So we're
take
going
it.
to do that. Let's all keep our videos on for only 10 seconds from
Okay.
now. Hold on, please. Hold on, please.
So as we are doing this, there will be the questionnaire. The questionnaire will be shared. Please, let's try to fill the form to tell us how you feel about tonight's. Yes, thank you. Organized. Technica, are you done?
Yeah, we're almost done. Maybe 2 minutes. Let's see.
Okay.
Mm,
Engineer Ismail, we can't see your face. We cannot see your face, so Engineer Ismail.
Where is our guest speaker? Our guest speaker is
Wait
not
a
there.
minute, please. Wait a minute.
Our guest speaker.
Wait,
Uh,
wait, wait a minute.
I think the speaker is off the call right now.
Oh,
Let him
okay.
let him join. Let him join. Let me call him.
Next
I
time,
see.
before we maybe
And
before we
yeah,
take the question, we quickly take the picture. Okay.
okay. We are waiting
Technical.
for him. Okay, I guess we are done. He didn't pick the call. Maybe he's off air.
Okay, okay. No
Mm,
problem. Maybe next time before we take questions, we will quickly do the group
okay
photo.
then. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your presence. We hope to see you and more people next month.
Let's thank all our attendees. Thank you very much for this great
Yes.
opportunity, and the moderator too, the president and other members of attending. We really appreciate you. And our local way we say Kamsamida. Thank you so much.
네,
Yeah.
감사합니다. 안녕하세요.
I
Mhm.
got, I got say, oh, what about?